How many of you are familiar with this sound? I had that sound on my phone. It comes from the little blue block Nokia phones out of the 90s. It was the first cell phone I had. I remember it clearly. I had it from AT&T. I was super excited to just have a cell phone and have the ease that brought. But that ringtone is so recognized by so many people because the vast majority of people who bought that cell phone did not change their ringtone. They simply left it as default. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but they had the ability to set it to anything they wanted to. And most people, as most people do, they just go with what is provided for them. Our goal, our mission, is to look at how we can make small tweaks to bring about big changes in our lives over the long term. I want to share with you about a gift I received, and it ties into this. One of my clients I was working with, they sent me these awesome headphones. I love them. I'm actually wearing them right now. They're super nice. The sound is so rich. The bass is deep. The highs are clear. I love them. But the inner padding, they're over-the-ear headphones, the inner padding has started wearing away. And every time I take them off, I get like a little bit of that padding left on my ear. What is that? I gotta brush it off. And my kid's like, what's on your ear? And it just isn't great. And it's been that way for, I don't even know, maybe a couple months. And subconsciously, I think I just had this thing that said, I just need to use worn out headphones until I buy a new pair. And I was thinking about this whole idea of living by default. And I started thinking about my own headphones. And I thought, I really like them. There's nothing wrong with them. I could certainly buy a whole new pair, or I could just use different ones, but maybe I can just get new earpieces and that'd be super easily. So I popped onto my good friend Amazon, and sure enough, boom, $25. They're in the mail, and I'm anticipating when they arrive. Just pop the old ones off, pop some new ones on, and no more problem. This is just a small example, but I'm finding that these types of situations pop up in all different places. We moved to Vermont for the summer, and it's been amazing. And I really wanted to get a mountain bike. I love the hills, I love the mountains, there's trails near us. I so enjoy being out in nature, in the abundance of nature. And so I went on the hunt. I found a mountain bike, used mountain bike, went and picked it up. I was excited about it. I got home and I realized that the back brakes didn't really work. They would kind of slow it down, but there wasn't any ability to like lock up the tire and actually stop. It was kind of like this slowing down. What ended up happening is that as I rode around, I rode slower. I was less confident. I was always aware that I had to kind of keep things not too fast in case I had to slow down, because I couldn't actually stop when I needed to stop. And what I found out was that I wasn't actually focused on riding and enjoying the ride. I was focused on minimizing what it was that I was doing on this new bike. And it got me thinking, is that something that I'm doing in my business and in my life? Like, am I holding myself back because there's something that just isn't working? And instead of fixing it, I'm just saying, I gotta live a little bit smaller. I gotta do things a little bit slower. I gotta make sure I don't put too much out there, whatever that may be. Well, what I ended up doing, there's this incredible bike shop town over from us. Guy there is just renowned, highly recommended. Anybody's like, oh, go over to Chuck's Bikes, check it out. And I was like, all right. So one morning, I hopped in the car with my son. We drove over, and I was all ready to drop the bike off, have it worked on. I didn't know how much it was going to cost. I just was like, I really just want to have brakes that work. And he hopped on the bike, he looked at it, and he goes, huh. And he grabbed a screwdriver, and he literally did like 2 twists on the brake, and he goes, all better. And he gave it back to me. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a second, like, that's all it took? And he goes, yeah, the brake pads had just gotten squished in on the disc brakes. We just had to pop them out and readjust them. And he goes, you're all set. Didn't even charge me. He was like, we're good to go. Go have a great ride. That's payment enough. And my mind was just blown that I had been riding this bike for probably a good 2 weeks, just minimizing my experience with it. And one, there was a guy in town over who easily could have fixed it. 2, I put it off until then. And it just makes me wonder how often we're doing those types of things in our lives, in our relationships, with our finances, in our businesses. If you're finding that you're thinking about something like this in your own life, one, my challenge, do something about it today. take action now. If you just want to connect with somebody, or if you have a business and you're like, I want to grow, I want to build my email list, I want to expand my website, I want to do these things, but I'm not sure how to do them, you can jump into my show notes. There's a link there, sharpteendesign.com/easy. Schedule a half hour and let's hash this out with you. I love doing these types of things. I do this one-on-one with people. I meet with them once a week. We look at the business and we figure out where are places that these types of things are stopping you, and we figure out how to jumpstart over them and make action plans so that you can move forward and allow your business to grow and allow you to grow as a person. Beautiful things that happen in between. This is such a fun concept because when you start to recognize these things, it's simple fixes that make life so much better and so much easier. My challenge to you is that may you recognize the great power you have in simply making a definitive choice today to take action. You can trust that as you move, the universe will rise up to support your commitment. Step boldly into this day. Be blessed, friends.